Howdy, neighbors. I'm Chris Keaton, and this is Random Acts. Oh, yeah. Welcome. We are going to have a good time this week, and I'll tell you why. A couple of things. I got some stories to tell you. Also got my friend Edgel Groves Jr. on here as a guest. I mean, it's going to be jam-packed with all kinds of good stuff. But look, first, I want to give a shout-out to John Lovitch. He was one of my favorite comedians on Saturday Night Live. He used to have one of the taglines he used to use was, "Get to know me! Get to know me!" And I always thought it was funny. So I'm going to turn it into something else and make it mine, which is, yes, I'm telling you, I'm going to steal from somebody else and use it for myself. There's nothing wrong with that. It's what all the pros do. So this segment is going to be five things that you probably don't know about me. So here you go. Number one, you know those flying monkeys on The Wizard of Oz? They scare the bejesus out of me. I don't like them at all. Not at all. Two, I like to read two books simultaneously, like all the time. I like to have two books going at any time. Number three, I love sports cars. The faster, the better. They always got to be black, though. Next one, I used to be a secret shopper. Yeah, I used to travel to hotels around the world and get to stay in all these great places and get paid to have to go sit in the bar and have a couple of drinks. You talk about fabulous. That was great fun. All right. And another one is I love soul food. Yeah, I really love soul food, which leads me to this story. When I was 19 years old, I was on the road with this guy named Gary U.S. Bonds. Now, Gary had three big hits in the early 60s. And the reason I took the job was every song he had a sax solo in the middle of it. So I'm thinking 19 years old, sweet. We're going to play these shows, and I'm going to get as much spotlight time as him. So it was pretty cool. We had like a five-piece band, two really hot girl singers, and Gary U.S. Bonds up front. Well, one time we were playing in Niagara Falls, New York, which is, of course, right across the border from Canada. And it was run by, it was run by a guy that I thought was a mobster, I'm telling you. Well, first off, he had this Coupe de Ville that was at least 30 feet long. I mean, it was huge. It was beautiful. But anyway, we're playing this club, and apparently some of Gary's friends in the Platters were just across the border in Kitchener, Ontario. Well, they called Gary and said, "Hey, man, we're cooking neck bones tonight. Why don't you come over after the gig?" Well, Gary said, "That's great." So he borrows the car from the club owner. Gary, the two girl singers, and me climb into the car, and we go across the Canadian border in the middle of the night. Well, getting into Canada was no big deal. So we get over there, have neck bones. Gary's drinking. We have some more neck bones. Gary has some more drinks. And then we decide we're going to drive back across the border. Well, wasn't quite as easy getting back into the U.S. because by this time it's like 5 o'clock in the morning. Gary rolls up and almost hits the guard at the gate. And the guard, stops him, comes around, asking for his identification. And we were about to not be let in when another guard came over and said, "Hey, man, that's Gary U.S. Bonds. I just saw him playing 2 nights ago." And the other guard looked at him like, "What?" And the first guard said, "Yeah, let him in." So we snuck back in only because of Gary U.S. Bonds. So that's my soul food story right there. I mean, anyway, I love soul food. Now, it's time for me to bring on my guest. And I've got Edgel Groves Jr., great business guy, great guy, and a great guest. So here we go. I wish I gave you more danger. On my stolen chaser, I'll never stop chasing you. Some weekends I don't make it to midnight. You're shaking me away to warm me. It's a short life. All right. Hey, friends and neighbors, I got a real treat for you. I got my friend Edgel Groves Jr. Now, he and I just met a little while ago. So, this is going to be your opportunity, friends, to see me and him get to know each other just a little bit, or he and I get to know each other a little bit. Sorry, Mrs. Daniels, my teacher from back in high school. Edgel, how you doing, babe?
I'm doing good, man. How about you?
You know what? I can't even buy a complaint. I'm telling you. I mean, life is just really, really good. Thanks.
Yeah. Well, also don't feel so bad about the grammar stuff. I feel like that's Southern charm. You can say, "Hey, what y'all doing? Where are we going? We about to me and you." It's all right. We can do that.
Yeah, fitting
I,
too.
you know, I'm fitting too. Yeah, I was born and raised in Atlanta, so all of that, I don't have to ask for forgiveness for that stuff. That's just part of it.
So, dude, so give me a little background. So you grew up in Atlanta, and then what'd you do from there?
Man, so yeah, grew up in Atlanta, born and raised, and then ended up, right out of high school, starting a band in college. Got my road legs underneath me. Started playing some shows around the southeast, and then ended up starting a pretty serious band called Sun Domingo. And so we traveled and played 200 plus shows a year for
Sweet.
just south of a decade. And so yeah, that was it. So I saw the world through the lens of being in a band. So the tour buses, vans, rental cars, crappy hotel rooms. Uh, but I wouldn't trade it for the world. Got to
Yeah,
see everything I want to see.
dude, that's awesome. So musical background. What instrument did you play?
Started off as the drummer in the band, and then 2 years into it, the two guitar players that we'd started the band with wanted to go do other things. They wanted to start families and buy houses and have day jobs. And so I said, you know what? I can play guitar. I'd already taught myself as a child. And I said, I'll become the guitar player.
Yeah.
Instead of having a piece, we'll become a trio. So I moved up and became the Andy Summers or the Alex Lifeson of the band, whatever you want to call it. And then uh, I called my buddy Nathan and said, "Hey, you want to be the drummer?" Well, San Domingo's becoming a trio, and at that point, we had a fan base, and we already had a lot happening for us. We had a booking agent, and we had shows on the books for a year in advance, and so we hit the rehearsal room, and we went from being a four-piece to a three-piece, and had a whole new repertoire, and just figured it out. And so for the rest of our career, I was the guitar player.
Dude, that's awesome. So then you
Yeah.
transitioned into management, right?
I did. Well, so around 2011, 2012, I got off the road. We did our final tour. We were opening with this band called Marillion, big progressive rock band
Yeah.
from the UK. And we did a world tour with them that ended in the US. So it was about 30 shows in every major US city. And the last date was in San Francisco at the Fillmore. Very, very epic last show.
Sweet.
And it ended up being the last show I ever played with Sun Domingo because in the ride home across the country, the 4 day trek back home, we decided to call it quits. And as part of that, I decided, you know what? I've learned a lot by basically being the core member of this band, the founder of this band, and in a lot of ways, the manager.
Hmm.
And I said, you know what? I'm going to go to the other side. I'm going to ask my buddy, who was our booking agent at the time, do you want to start a record label and booking agency with me? And we can sign artists that we like, and we'll help them navigate the waters and avoid the pitfalls that I've made on the road over the last
Yeah.
decade. And so, yeah, that was it. My transition into label and management was wanting to help my friends and sign bands that I loved. So
Yeah.
I wasn't thinking I'm going to go out and find new artists. I actually was thinking I'm going to go manage all my friends who I think deserve to be stars. And
Yeah.
so that's how it kind of kicked off.
Wow. That's cool, man. So essentially you get to do what you love to do, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That was the beginning of it. Yeah, and music itself for me was an excuse not to get a desk job, but B, if you can make money doing something that helps people and that makes you feel good, why not do it? And so to me, it was the ultimate combination.
I am so hip to that. I mean, to me, and I tell people all the time, it's all about the joy. Not only the joy that you as a musician get to share with people, but the joy that they give back to you when they hear your music. I mean, it's a wonderful infinite loop. I just think it's the greatest. So
It's about
so I know you've got another business that you're involved in too. Pass Pass. Tell me about that.
So Pass is non-music,
Uh-huh.
but in a lot of ways it ties into my experience. And so um, before I started Pass, I actually spent the better half of 4 years to 5 years on the music distribution side of things. I started within a company called Repost Network
Yeah.
out in Los Angeles. And so Repost was a digital distributor that was, akin to like a DistroKid or a CD Baby or a Stem. And we were a very small, tight-knit group of people, and the founders were very good friends of mine. Um, and we were, the little distro company that could. And about a year and a half to me joining that company, I was head of label services and marketing. We got acquired by SoundCloud. And so SoundCloud brought us in. It was a very, very, very nice deal. Everybody was very happy with it.
Hmm.
And as part of that deal, we became SoundCloud's distribution arm. So SoundCloud before that was just a platform where you could upload music to SoundCloud itself.
Right.
But SoundCloud wanted to offer distribution to all the other platforms to its artists. And so I went into SoundCloud and ran that division, which was label services, marketing, A&R, and helped scale up the distribution business and subscription business for SoundCloud. And what ended up being called SoundCloud for Artists, which is now a thing. If you type in SoundCloud for Artists on Google, that is Repost Network. That is our company that was
Cool.
rolled in, and what you see today. And so part of what I learned was how to build an at-scale subscription business and what it is to generate royalties as an artist. So, royalties are a very important part of the ecosystem for an artist.
Yeah.
So if you're not making money from your music, especially mailbox money, then you're stuck out on the road all the time.
Yeah.
And so mailbox money is the only way that this thing really works for you in the long term. So when I started PassPass, and I'll explain what that is real quick. PassPass is a digital discount app for users. They download our app for free, but if they pay $5 a month to be a member, they get access to thousands of deals at their favorite businesses around the US. So, buy one, get one free at your favorite pub next door, or
Cool.
free coffee at this place once a week, or whatever it may be. It's like a coupon book, but in one location in your app.
Yeah.
Our special sauce was we created something called customer powered royalties. That means that all the businesses in our ecosystem that offer deals to our users actually have the ability to get paid royalties from the customers who are in our ecosystem. So we pay out a royalty stream, and there's a mechanism for that. And I can talk about that in a whole other podcast. But ultimately, we allow businesses to make money even when their doors are closed. So when they close up at night and they go to bed, typically that's the last money they make for the day.
Yeah.
But if they're with PassPass, they can be making money while they sleep. And so I think we're changing the landscape for brick and mortar businesses.
Dude, that is so awesome. And of course, I picked up on this. So, customer powered royalties, is that it?
That's
Yeah,
it.
CPR. I mean,
That's
see,
it.
you're offering CPR to the businesses. That's freaking awesome, man.
100%. That's it, man. You nailed it. Yep.
Okay. So, but you haven't really completely left music because you're managing a kid named Will J, right? And he's killing it, right?
He's crushing it. What a talent. He's easily one of the best songwriters I've ever met in my life. I call him one of the last troubadours. There's very few people that write songs at the level this guy writes songs at, and he writes songs for all kinds of artists you probably know. I won't name drop here, but he's got several hit records under his belt.
Nice.
He's got a publishing deal on one side, and he's constantly writing. I'd say 5 to 7 days a week he's in a studio writing with somebody.
Yeah.
And then he's also an artist, so he has his own artist project. He just dropped an album called Butterfly Effect. So shameless plug there.
Not a
Please
problem,
go listen
babe.
to it. And he also, does film and television stuff. He just did a musical in Southeast Asia. I mean, he's just so talented. It's
Wow.
unreal.
Dude, that is so great. Well, listen, man, thank you so much for being a guest on my podcast. Please tell people how they can find you.
Absolutely. Well, you can find me on social media, just Edgel Groves Jr., Edgel Groves Jr., LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, all the usual suspects. But yeah, Chris, we still need to do some catching up. I need to find out what you're up to these days. What do you? Give me a quick elevator pitch on what you're
Okay,
working on.
quick elevator pitch. So I still consult within the music industry. I have a lot of clients around the world, mainly emerging artists who come to me and go, dude, I just finished this project. What do I do
Yeah.
now? So I try to help them navigate that. I also am still consulting with Macy's, the retailer, on a national level, which is a whole other thing and a whole lot of fun. And
Good.
I've got a new website. This is season 2 of my podcast now. So, man, I'm living the life. I'm telling you. I mean, plus, I got friends like you who will share their time with me. So I'm doing okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say that doesn't suck at all. I'll take it. I'll take it.
No,
Sign me up.
as we say down south, hell no, it don't suck. Hell no.
Sure, or shit, yeah.
Shit, yeah. That's right. Edgel, thank you so much.
You got it. Thanks for having me, Chris.
Continued success, my brother. So, I want to thank Edgel one more time for being my guest. And hey, follow him. He's got all this cool stuff going on. Be sure to check it out. I know you'll enjoy it as you go forward. Hey, so people ask me all the time, dude, you got 2 books out. And I'm like, yeah. I got a first book called Dapper. I got a second book called Confidence on the Fly. And actually before that, there was another one I did. It was an ebook called The 7 Stupid Mistakes That People Make Trying to Break in the Music Business. But we'll talk about that another time. But people are always asking me, so how did you find the time to write these books? Well, not really giving away a big secret, but the way that I did it actually started out with Facebook posts. Years ago, I would sit down, usually after I had a couple drinks at night, and I would come up with this stuff, and they'd be rules for gentlemen, and it was from a guy that I invented called Politeness Man. Well, I didn't really invent him because somebody else had the rights to Politeness Man, which initially meant I really couldn't use it. So I only used it on Facebook. So, but I always had these quotes like a gentleman always or a gentleman never. Well, before I knew it, I had like 400 of these quotes. And somebody said, you ought to do a book. So tried a couple of times, couldn't really get anybody to help me out with it. So the book kind of sat there for a few years until I met a photographer named Brian in Nashville. He said, man, you should do this book, and I'll take the pictures for you, and I'll even do the design. So we put together my first book, which came out in 2020. It's called Dapper. Actually, I wanted to do it like this. It's called Dapper. Oh, sorry. It's called Dapper, and it came out in 2020, but it's still relevant today. This book is written for gentlemen and the ladies who love them. Hey, it makes a great Christmas gift. So, and then a couple years later, I wrote my second book called Confidence on the Fly. And this is a guide to gaining and maintaining confidence. And it's the same sort of thing. It's just little bitty things in here that it's stuff that you should know. It's stuff that you probably already know, but that you forgot about. So here's the deal. Shameless self-promotion. Here we go. Right now, you can get from me these 2 books plus a special gift if you order them together between now and Christmas. The 2 books, $40 package, $40 bundle. Listen, I'm giving you a $45 value for $40. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Now, the other thing is, if you watched the episode before, I talked about the Chiss moment. And I talked about the T-shirts. Yeah. The I'm with Chiss T-shirt. Yeah. Now, you can get one of these free if you order the bundle of Confidence on the Fly and Dapper, or Dapper and Confidence on the Fly. So there you go, $40. Chris at chriskeaton.com. My website, the brand new website, is www.chriskeaton.com. So come on and visit me there. Check out everything I got going on and buy these gifts for yourself. Okay? There you go. So I want to thank you once again for joining me for my podcast, Random Acts, and I hope you have a great week. Thank you. I got that, by the way. I'm so glad you did.